Hi, John Valvano here, and here we're going to introduce Eagle. Okay, so we installed it, we hooked it up, and we thought about what we're going to do. And so now what I'd like to do is open up the schematic file and the board file and play around with it. Okay, in the subsequent video, we'll start hooking things up. But here I just like to wander around and show you some of the features. Okay, so I double-clicked on the schematic. The schematic means it's the logical connection for my circuit. Okay. And a couple of things to notice, that there is another view. It's called the board view. So if I click this, it'll switch to the board view. This will be part of assignment 2, which will be later. And so if I click it again, I'm back in schematic view. Okay, so again, this is the logical connections. All right, let's show you some of the features. The first is the layers. So anywhere you see a green wire, a green line, is called a net. And a net is a logical connection between points. And nets will be very important in this design phase to make sure we got them good names, we got the right signals connected up to the right signals, etc. All right. And then there's a bunch of gray things like names, values, info, which are just sort of there for our own observation, but they don't have a electronic effect. Now, some of the names and values will show up as silk on the PCB, but they don't cause it to work or not work. The other thing you see here is the red, and there's quite a bit of red in the circuit. Those are the parts, okay? Okay, so those are the layers, and generally for this view, we look at them all, okay? The other is the grid. Now, I built my circuit with a 0.1 inch snap to make all the lines nice and straight. If for some reason you can't connect two things together, you could reduce the size of the grid here to say 0.05. But again, I'm going to leave this in the default setting while I work in the schematic. All right, let's look at some of the commands. This is my schematic, and so let's look at a resistor. So I'm going to move my cursor over to the resistor, and I'm going to do a scroll. I got the control scroll. Okay, so I got the control key down, and I'm rolling the roll bar to look at a part. Okay, so I zoomed into that part. I can zoom out as well. Now each of these parts has it's red, that's a part, that's a resistor, as you can see, but it has this red cross on it. And so if I want to find the information, this is a little bit weird. In many other applications, you click the part and then choose the command. In Eagle, is the opposite. I first choose the command, like I want to know the info, and then I roll over and click on that red cross. Okay, so I can see the components of a part. It's got its name. That's R5. Again, that'll show up as silk screen. It has where it is, which I could move, but generally I move it with the cursor and not with the number. Okay, I can rotate it, and then we'll see some rotations later. But this is the interesting part. It's a 300 mil resistor, which is essentially a 1/4 watt resistor. It came out of the 445L library, and it has a value of 1.5K. Now at this level, it doesn't matter what the value is. What it matters is the size. But this value, again, will show up as silkscreen to help me when I solder it. Okay, so that's a part. Okay. All right. So this is the footprint, what it looks like in the PCB. All right, so sometimes there are things that aren't parts at all that look red. So let me show you one of those. I'm doing a control roll, okay? And I'm going to find, there's the LEDs. I think it's up. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Let's look at these, like this one here. This looks like a part because it's red. And so if I do an info on it, it'll give me some stuff. But it's not physically anything other than helping us understand what it is. Okay, so you'll see a couple of these There's that one. There's these two up here. Again, this is not an actual part. It's just there to help you, understand as humans. Okay, so it doesn't translate to anything physical. On the other hand, this one looks like the same thing, but it actually does translate. It's a test point built out of 2 wires. Okay. So the next thing I want to observe is the nets. Okay, so again, the green lines are the nets. And so, for instance, if I click, okay, again, I'm doing an info, I do the command first, and then if I click on a net, it'll tell me what net it is. Okay, it's a ground net. And so you notice that was ground. Down here, or over here, wherever I saw it, I saw another one. Yeah, here's another one. Zoom in here. So that's a controls roll bar. Here's another line. It's also ground, GND. And so anywhere you have a net on your schematic with the same name, they are logically connected, even though they're not physically connected as with a wire. They are logically connected. All right. So for instance, this net right here is port C bit 4. And so somewhere else we see port C bit 4 and it's physically connected. Okay. Let's do a move. Let me show you the move. And again, the idea here is we first select the command. So I'm going to move one of these switches. Okay. So I'm going to first choose the command, right? I'm going to choose the move, and then I'm going to click on the box, and then I can move it. So let me do that again. Okay, click the command, click the part, move, rotate. Now there's no roll bar or clicking. I just moving the mouse, and then when I click it again, it puts it down. Okay. The other thing I can do, okay, is if I move it and I do click the right button, this is the right button, it rotates. Woohoo! I click the right button, a right button, the right button. So if you want them going that way, you can click it that way. So again, from a schematic, and then I click the left button to leave it. So left button to pick it up, right button to rotate, and left button to put it down. Okay, let's move a bunch of stuff at once. Okay, and so here I'm going to group all my switches together. So let me move this guy back. I'll leave him there. It's fine. I zoom out a little bit because I got to see where I'm going to go. Okay, so again, I'm going to start with the command, and this is I'm doing a left click. Okay, drag, left click, let go of the left button, and now I've selected those items, and then I'm going to do a move on those items, and now I'm going to do a right click, select move group, and now I can move the whole group. Okay, so play with that, move stuff around or rotate it around. We're going to need to be able to do that. Okay, so again, if I get through the end of this lecture and you have no idea what I'm doing, there are a bunch of tutorials listed in the beginning part of the course that go through these things in way more detail. Okay, so that was move, rotate, group. And now, like, if I wanted to have another copy of something, so let's say I needed one more resistor of 440 size. Okay, I could then again choose the command first, which is copy, click on the red cross, and now it's made a copy of that. Okay, so now I'm going to click left click again, and it dropped it down. Well, it turns out I don't want another one, so let me show you delete. Okay, again, be careful. If you got the delete button clicked and you start clicking around, stuff goes away quickly. Okay, so delete, and then I'm going to delete this by, again, I picked the command first and then I hit delete. Okay, it's gone. All right. Obviously you should save it. frequently in case it crashes. All right. So let me do one last thing before we get to actually doing anything, and I'll scroll around and show you things that are already built. You can see there's a test point here for the ground. There's a test point for the 3.3 power. There is the LCD here. So this is the ST7735R wired up in the standard protocol, and these is already netted out. Okay, so this is already netted out with the proper connections. The only extra thing I did is connect this card select here to port D bit 7. Okay, that way I can use the SD card in the future. Okay, again, these are all netted out for you, and for this particular class, please don't delete those. Those are fine. Okay, we got up here, we have the connection for lab 9. Okay, and again, lab 9. We're going to connect pin 3 of this header to PC5, which is the output. That's the transmit output. We're going to connect this one to PC4, which is the receive input. And when you go to do lab 9 all by yourself, you're going to jumper 3 to 2. Okay? If you're doing lab 9 with another board, you obviously tie the output to the input and the input to the output using this header. Okay? Let's see, down here on the bottom over here is the other thing that's given to you. Where'd it go? There it is. This, okay. This is the second 3-pin header, allowing you the flexibility to connect PD3, which is the analog input for the scope, either to the slide pot analog input from lab 8 or the DAC output from lab 6. The rest of this stuff, you see that what I've done is I've given you net names for all the things you haven't yet connected. Okay, so you know, there's net names for each of the ports that's available for us to construct. Okay, so that's a brief introduction. Play around with it, learn the commands. Again, you click the command first, and then you click the device. Okay. All right. So, all right. Next, we're going to start hooking stuff up. All right. Come back.